Make your bed. If your life feels out of control, start by defeating a blanket. It sounds ridiculous, but making your bed is one of the fastest, low-effort wins your brain can register. It's 1 square meter of order in a world that's full of confusion. The Navy calls it discipline. Psychologists call it a completion cue. When you tighten a corner or smooth out the covers, you're teaching your brain that actions lead to visible results. The payoff isn't how the bed looks, it's momentum. The same neural pathway that notices bed equals done lights up later when you finish a workout, a work task, or a hard conversation. It's why Admiral McRaven's viral speech still gets quoted a decade later. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never do the big things right. Start with the stupidly simple. Because every transformation, every so-called overnight success, every empire probably began with someone muttering, "At least the bed's been made." The 2-minute rule. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. That brilliant but simple idea is credited to David Allen, author of Getting Things Done. He built an empire on that one sentence because, somehow, most of us will spend more time avoiding a small task than it would take to just finish it. The 2-minute rule breaks that habit. Answer the email, toss in the laundry, make the appointment. Every tiny action clears a little space in your brain that was holding the reminder hostage. It works because it doesn't depend on motivation and it removes the chance to overthink. If you tried it right now while you were watching this video, half your to-do list would already be done. The deep work hour. Focus has become a superpower, mostly because no one has any left. That's where the deep work hour comes in. One uninterrupted block of time where your brain actually gets to think instead of react. No notifications, no background noise, no digital nonsense exploding across your screen every 10 seconds. Author Cal Newport calls it deep work, but it's really just what thinking used to be before Wi-Fi. During that single focused hour, your brain shifts into a rare mode called flow. You stop chasing dopamine hits and start producing something actually worthwhile. It doesn't take much. Just shut the door, silence the phone, and work on something difficult until your brain stops fighting it. First, you'll notice the silence, and then you'll notice how fast you can actually get things done. Morning sun exposure. Forget coffee. The real morning starter is 93 million miles away. 10 minutes of sunlight within an hour of waking does more for your energy than most supplements ever will. When that light hits your eyes, it sends a signal straight to your brain's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, telling every cell, wake up and start making energy. It gets rid of leftover melatonin, balances cortisol, and even sets the timer for when you'll get sleepy later tonight. Yet, most of us still roll out of bed and check a glowing rectangle instead. The difference between sunlight and screen light? About 10,000 lux, and a functioning sleep cycle. So if you're exhausted by noon, try stepping outside instead of scrolling. The sun's free, it's punctual, and unlike your alarm, there's no snooze button. Say no more often. People say yes for the same reason they overpack. It feels safer to have everything covered, but every yes costs something. Time, energy, focus. And too often it gets wasted on things you didn't even want in the first place. We say yes to avoid awkwardness, to keep people happy, to dodge guilt. The problem is, when you say yes to others, you end up disappointing yourself. Saying no isn't selfish, it's being honest. It means you're finally admitting that your time is valuable, and no matter how hard you try, you can't please everyone. The world won't end, no one will burst into flames, and you might actually have enough energy left to say yes to something you care about. Phone-free walks. Your brain isn't tired from work, it's tired from noise. A 10-minute walk without your phone is the mental equivalent of hitting defragment on your hard drive. No podcasts, no playlists, just the sound of your own footsteps reminding your nervous system you're not just a floating head attached to a screen. When you walk distraction-free, your brain shifts into a creative state called diffuse mode, the same state where ideas suddenly click like when you're in the shower or right before sleep. Some people call it active meditation, but it's also free therapy, cardio, and a fresh perspective all rolled into one. Give it a shot. You'll be shocked how beautiful the world actually is when you're not busy escaping it. Drink water first thing. You're not tired, you're dehydrated. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body gets low on fluid. One glass of water the moment you wake up reboots circulation, clears out stress hormones, and gets oxygen flowing before your brain even checks who texted at 2 a.m. Think of it as internal maintenance, flushing yesterday's chemistry experiment out of your system. Even NASA tracks astronaut hydration because small changes in fluid mess with focus, balance, and mood. You may not be in space, but your brain still floats in fluid and needs water to function. Skip it, and your morning fog isn't lack of caffeine. It's your neurons begging for liquid. So, before the coffee, before the madness begins, drink the water first. Read 10 pages a day. 10 pages a day doesn't sound like much, until you realize that's over 3,000 pages a year. The problem is, most people make reading a chore. They wait to feel inspired rather than making it easy to start. Instead, leave a book where your phone usually is. Open it before bed, and you'll be amazed how quickly "I don't have time" turns into one more chapter. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, calls this habit stacking, pairing something small with something you already do. It doesn't matter how fast or slow of a reader you are. The point is to make reading part of your normal routine, so it becomes a steady source of growth and enrichment. 10 pages. That's all. Enough to learn something new, see through someone else's eyes, and remember that your mind works better when you make it think. Compliment at least one person each day. Compliments are simple psychology with serious impact. They may seem small and insignificant, but they tap into the same brain circuits that make connection addictive. When you tell someone they did something well, not only does it hit their reward system, it lights up yours as well. Social scientists call it the helper's high, but you don't need a journal article to prove it works. You can feel it. The moment you give a real compliment, the air changes. So does your tone, your energy, your mood. When you're looking for reasons to compliment others, you start paying attention to what people do right instead of what they mess up, and that habit shifts your entire perspective. Say something nice every day, if for no other reason than to remind you that your words carry weight. The more often you use them well, the better you start to feel about everything else that comes out of your mouth. Stretch or move every hour. NASA discovered something fascinating while studying astronauts. The human body starts breaking down the moment it stops moving. In zero gravity, muscles weaken and bones lose density. On Earth, the same thing happens, just slower and with less floating involved. Sitting for hours tightens muscles, slows circulation, and tells your brain it's time to shut down. The solution doesn't require a full body workout. Stand up, stretch, roll your shoulders, walk to the kitchen. Anything that reminds your body it's still alive. Even a minute each hour keeps your body doing what it's meant to do. Stay in motion, because movement is life. Declutter one thing daily. Every object in your space asks for a little bit of attention. A receipt on the counter, a cable you swear you'll fix, the jacket you keep meaning to donate. They all whisper, "Deal with me." That background noise adds up until it feels like you're living inside your to-do list. Decluttering doesn't have to be dramatic. No need to empty full closets or buy matching bins. Just remove one thing each day that no longer earns its place. Toss it, recycle it, donate it, whatever makes it gone. When your environment is more organized, your mind stops scanning for what's wrong and finally relaxes. Do it long enough, and your space starts to mirror your priorities. Less clutter, fewer distractions, more room to breathe. Gratitude list. Dr. Martin Seligman's research in positive psychology found that writing down 3 things you're grateful for, even a few times a week, can raise long-term happiness and lower depression. It works because the brain can't focus on anxiety and appreciation at the same time. Most days, your mind spots what's wrong first, but this simple habit trains it to notice what's still good. You start seeing life as something happening for you, not just to you. Just 3 to 5 things, 3 to 5 times a week is all that it takes. A good meal, a kind word, a text that made you laugh. What begins as a list becomes a reminder that even on your worst days, something's still working in your favor. Avoid screens 30 minutes before bed. Every night, millions of people tell themselves the same lie. One more scroll, then sleep. That one more usually turns into 30, and your brain never gets the memo that the day is over. Screens blast your eyes with blue light that tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime, keeping melatonin, the sleep hormone, on pause when it should be kicking in. And it's not just the light. The endless motion, noise, and constant hits of stimulation keep your system wired for alertness when it's supposed to be winding down. Instead of scrolling yourself into exhaustion, try giving your mind half an hour without notifications, headlines, or highlight reels. The payoff is huge. You fall asleep faster, dream better, and actually wake up rested instead of feeling like you never slept at all. Plan tomorrow tonight. Tomorrow starts smoother when you plan it the night before. Take 5 minutes before bed to decide what actually matters in the morning. Write it down, lay it out, or just make the decision now so your half-asleep brain doesn't have to. Most of us wake up and burn the first hour scrolling, reacting, and then wondering why the day already feels behind. A plan made the night before turns aimless wandering into direction. When you open your eyes and already know your first move, everything else gets easier. There's no scrambling, no guessing, no wasted energy. You just start, and the rest of the day falls into place. Go to bed at the same time every night. Sleep is when your body repairs itself. When you go to bed and wake up at consistent times, your body starts working with you instead of against you. Hormones stabilize, memory improves, and your brain finally gets time to take out the mental trash that builds up while you're awake. Neuroscientists like Dr. Matthew Walker have shown that even one night of poor or irregular sleep can significantly throw off your metabolism, focus, and mood. It's not necessarily about getting more hours of sleep, it's about keeping them consistent. A regular schedule trains your circadian rhythm to know exactly when to power down and when to wake up ready. Sleep is the foundation for every other habit. Focus, discipline, motivation, they all collapse without it. Go to bed at the same time, even on weekends. You'll get your energy back, your patience back, and a version of yourself that's actually rested enough to care. People wait for one big moment to change their lives, but in reality, lasting change is more often the result of small habits done consistently over time.